This is a screenshot of me and my boyfriend now talking to a police officer in January 2025 outside of my parents' house 5 years after the last time that anyone had seen or heard from my 9 younger siblings. And if you don't know the backstory behind this, I have a lot of videos on my channel, but essentially I'm the oldest of 11. My parents homeschooled us all growing up and did not allow us to have contact with anyone outside of the house, and taught us that everyone outside the house was out to get us, essentially. And so when me and my brother escaped in 2020, we became part of the outside world, became part of the problem, and were completely cut off from any contact with our siblings and our parents, and we have not heard from any of them since then. So I went through the years from 2020 to this day thinking that at some point as my siblings got older I would hear from one of them. There was 2 of them immediately after I got out that were messaging me on secret Instagram accounts, but they got caught one day and I never heard from them again, and so I thought that they would know to do that again if they ever needed anything as they got older and as they became old enough that they could leave if they wanted to. But it got to 2025 and I had not heard anything at all. And the concerning part was that no one else had heard anything from them either, and the oldest at this point were 22, 20, and 19, and it was still radio silence from the inside of my parents' house. And I just started talking to this guy here, my boyfriend now, and telling him, opening up to him about my story, telling him a lot of things that I've said on here about how I grew up and the situation my siblings were still in, and he jumped into action. So he took it upon himself to go to my parents' neighborhood and knock on every single one of the neighbors' doors and talk to them, ask them if they had seen anyone come and go from the house, if it seemed like my siblings were okay, and the neighbors all expressed concerns that they never saw anybody leave the house and they never saw the kids, and they would sometimes hear them in the backyard, but they didn't know what was going on there and all had their own concerns. And one of the neighbors even described seeing one of the older kids taking out the trash on the driveway one day when she was driving by, and she didn't try to approach them or say hi or anything like that, and they just saw her and ran inside the house. And my boyfriend relayed all of this to me after his exploration mission, and I was concerned that things had not only not changed from when I was there, but maybe they had even gotten worse, because at this point there are adults now in this situation and they have no way of knowing that there's anyone out here to support them if they wanted to leave. So with the support and encouragement of my boyfriend, we decided it was time that somebody do something about that. So January, there are 2 of my siblings' birthdays in January. So one January day, this day, we loaded up in the car. I filled an entire big trash bag full of balloons. I printed off 100 copies of a note that I wrote my siblings about how much I miss them and I love them, and if they ever need anything they could go to the neighbors, and the neighbors all had my phone number and they could call me if there was some type of emergency or if they needed help. And I knew that my parents wouldn't answer the door if I had just gone to the door and knocked normally, and that there was going to be no way to just reach my siblings from knocking on the door, because they still had that note from when I was a kid on the door about please don't knock or ring, people are sleeping. And so I knew that nothing had changed there and they weren't going to answer the door. So what we did is he took these balloons, we took all of these notes, and we put them over the fence into the backyard for my siblings and created a massive distraction in the front of the house while these balloons and notes were all in the backyard for my siblings to pick up. So tossed all the balloons and notes over the fence and went straight to the front door and started knocking and ringing the doorbell and creating a distraction. And was I obnoxious about it? Yeah. I was knocking persistently and I was not going to leave until I felt that my siblings had the chance to know that I was outside. After 5 years, their sister was outside on the doorstep and our parents would not let me speak to them. And so I was trying to create this distraction where they would have had a chance to go and hopefully pick up one of my notes, that there were so many notes that there'd be no way that my parents would be able to hide them all.